I wasn't around when Elvis died, but that would have been major. I was just a baby when John Lennon died, but that would have been major. I do remember when George Harrison died, and that was major. But um, yeah, this Brian Wilson thing. I mean, part of you wants to go, oh, you know what? He was old, But was he that old? What is he, 83? Turning 84, if I have that right? I think his birthday isn't far from here, if I got that right. And yeah, it sucks. You don't want to just say, "Oh, somebody was old." Um, the other thing about Brian Wilson too is he was kind of checked out several times, kind of counted out. Kind of like nobody's home. As I understand, Mike Love is now. I know somebody who hangs out with Mike Love. I actually saw that person today, and they will tell you that like you don't get a lot out of him. He's kind of a walking vegetable. He still plays, but anyway, it's not what this is about. What is it about? Well, even John Stamos put in an article today, like I guess it was more like he had, John Stamos had to tell Mike Love that Brian Wilson died, your cousin's dad, right? And he said that Mike Love sort of went silent for 2.5 hours, of course in mourning, but also like Mike Love just kind of checks out like that, as I understand it. Like I totally I have a connection connected to Mike Love. Just my guy, Mike Love. That's. So I kind of get some inside stories on what goes on in the Beach Boy world. Um. Anyway, yeah, I'm kind of glad I never met Brian Wilson in real life. You never knew which Brian Wilson you were going to get. You could have got a really rude Brian Wilson. You could have got a mentally ill Brian Wilson, or you could have got a really nice Brian Wilson, but you never knew. And you could have even got like an old, like an almost like a fuddy duddy vegetable Brian Wilson, like a not the genius we're looking for. But he's very important to me and to so many people, so many bands. I mean, I've listened to this stuff over and over and over. Where's my copy of Pet Sounds? I couldn't even find my copy of Pet Sounds because it floats around the house. It just floats around the house or in the van. I'm surprised I only have the one copy. I may have a copy on vinyl too. I had to dig through. I'm not sure. If I don't, I'm gonna get one, of course. Um, I'm sure I do. Anyway, um, yeah, it's rough. In fact, I know I do because I usually listen to it on headphones and vinyl when I'm not just digging this. So anyway, where's my copy of Pet Sounds on vinyl? I'm not sure at this moment. But is this terrible? Um, it's just rough. It's just rough. Like I said, I probably wouldn't have wanted to meet him in real life. He probably wouldn't have wanted to meet me. Really big fans of him. Really, really big fans. Like people obsessed with him have met Brian Wilson, and he was really rude to them, right? So that's a thing that can happen. I've had that happen to me. I've met producers that I really respect, and they were dickheads to me. But anyway, that's not what this is about. This is about he died. Like, um, I mean, he was a genius. Like, you can't deny that he was receiving divine messages for this stuff. Like, how do you do this album? How do you do it, especially with the limited technology? I also want to know when they were working on it, Carl and Dennis and Mike Love and I guess Al Jardine was on there too, and the other people involved. There's other session musicians. Like, did they know that they were flying that close to the sun? Like, did they know that there was that much greatness happening? Um, can you know, like when you're working on something that fantastic, Like when that guy was painting the Sistine Chapel, is he like, this is gonna be great? Like what's the process there? What's the thought process when you're on track 8 of Pet Sounds? And everybody's groaning, Brian's being a slave driver again, making us do the 48th take of this thing. How could you know how important this thing is? Like, if you don't have this record, you should have this record. Why don't you have this record? Everyone has this record. You need to have it. Everyone needs to have it. There's other great stuff too that you don't need to have. There's Good Vibrations in Heroes and Villains. This one's a funny speed, so it's hard to play. This is an old version of Surfin' Safari. This is the stuff people think the Beach Boys are, right? They think they're California Girls and Help Me Rhonda and stuff like that. They don't realize that it's like change the music, change the culture forever type stuff. They don't realize how important this album is. So it is just absolutely beautiful. It's as if God himself beamed it into Brian Wilson's head. So when he died this week, I was just like, oh, that sucks, and I really didn't give it much thought. But then I went over to Warheart Arts here, my buddy Numb Thumb. He does a tribute. What he does is he plays the Bare Naked Ladies song, Brian Wilson. This is how, you can pay tribute to Brian Wilson in lots of ways. This is what Numb Thumb has decided to do. I don't even like this song. I don't like the Bare Naked Ladies, but this is really good. This is a really good tribute. And it made me stop and think and slow down and kind of start to process his death, because I didn't process it earlier this week. I was just like, oh, okay, we'll deal with that later. But if you're interested, go to Warheart Arts' channel, and it's his newest video. It's called Brian Wilson, and it's just a very artistic, good cover of the song Brian Wilson. I don't like the Bare Naked Ladies, so this is my new version of this song. I'll just pretend that Numb Thumb wrote this song. Anyway, it's a good tribute if you want to check it out. I'm a Beatles fan too, so it's hard to... You can't really be a Beatles fan and not be a Beach Boys fan, because it's the same kind of thing. And Rubber Soul and Revolver and Pet Sounds and Good Vibrations, those things all pushed each other. Like, there'd be no Sgt. Pepper if there wasn't the Beach Boys. I don't think there'd be Pet Sounds if there wasn't the Beatles. Like, it all feeds. It's all competition. Paul McCartney was... I don't know that John Lennon was pushing for that, but Paul McCartney was always like, oh, well, wouldn't it be nice as the greatest song ever written? How am I going to top that, And maybe he never did, because how do you top Wouldn't It Be Nice? Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy too that he outlived his brothers, and Carl, Dennis, and that he didn't outlove Mike Love. And they all hung out together. Not all of them, but like Mike Love was it was in India with the Beatles in '68, right? So they knew each other. They all met. Paul McCartney and Brian Wilson have met. Pretty sure Bob Dylan and Brian Wilson have met. Have great respect for each other. Wouldn't it be nice? Like, that song. It's just one of the greatest songs. The whole album. You Still Believe in Me. That's Not Me. Don't Talk, Put Your Head on My Shoulder. I'm Waiting for the Day. Let's Go Away for a While. Sloop John B., which is obviously a traditional song. They did that the odd time. They would take a traditional song and Beach Boys it up, God Only Knows, one of the greatest songs ever written. I Know There's an Answer. Here Today. I Just Wasn't Made for These Times. Pet Sounds. Caroline No. Unreleased Backgrounds. Hang On to Your Ego, which is an amazing song. And Trombone. Dixie, which... if you had to drop a track, you could probably drop that track. But God Only Knows, yeah, it's one of the most beautiful songs ever written. So, yeah, I can't pay tribute to him, but I don't know. Go check out Warheart Arts. He's got a nice tribute to him. Yeah, I don't know what else there is to say. Like, I'm not just going to toss out the word genius, but it was an absolute genius. Just a conduit to the divine, you know? Like these songs and the arrangements and the music and the work put in, it's got to be divine inspiration. He's got to be a conduit to the divine. You know, God only knows what I'd be without you. So, all right. Well, it sucks. We lost another one. We're losing a lot of them. Yeah, I won't ramble on about, who's still around and all that stuff, but Brian Wilson, rest in peace. Like I said, I'm guessing if I had ever met him, he probably would have been rude to me or wouldn't have cared to meet me or whatever. That's just my experience meeting your heroes, is you shouldn't meet your heroes. That's my experience with it, but I don't know. We can still pay tribute. Hey, go check out Warheart Arts. Go check out Numb Thumb doing Brian Wilson. It's a very nice tribute. It's a very well thought out tribute to Brian Wilson.